Hey, what's up, everyone? Thank you for tuning in to Wonderful Radio. I'm happy today to be finally connecting with Juliet Mendoza. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. How are you doing, Carmen?
Very good. I know we've been going back and forth for a while, so now we're officially connecting, and then we'll get to play with each other in August at Charbar Detroit. So that's exciting.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're gonna jump right into this. I want to know, I know we were kind of talking about it a little bit, your history, but how long have you been a DJ and what or who got you into the craft? Like how you went that direction?
So I'm definitely a 90s kid, right? So I was born in the 80s, but total 90s. I started being a part of the scene, like the house scene or dance scene in LA at the age of 13.
Nice.
And because of that, and like the people that I was hanging out with, they used to DJ and they taught me how to DJ when I was 13.
Wow.
So this started back in the 90s, like early 90s. And then my journey with this has definitely been a roller coaster. I started the whole thing 13 and then really got involved in the dancer side. So I used to dance for clubs out here. I used to do all these different things, help organize parties and just help like organize like dancers and things like that. Mm-hmm. And then that turned into DJing all over again when I was in my mid 20s. So like around 25, 26, I took it upon myself to start playing music again for therapeutic reasons. So I was going through a lot of stuff in my life at that time, and I really couldn't leave the house. So I was like, what am I going to do, with my time at home? Mm-hmm. And so I started buying records again, and I started playing my records and doing all these things. And then I was like, okay, I'm starting to dig this, and then started kind of like mixing stuff. And I had a friend come over, and my friend was like, why aren't you doing this like at the club? And I was like, no, I don't want to do it at the club. I want to just do it at home. Mm-hmm. And that turned into a whole thing. My boyfriend at the time, like a few years later, was like, you need to play out. You should be playing out, And I was like, no, I don't want to do that. And then I had a close friend of mine that was like, hey, I would work the door for her. Mm. And she was like, hey, one of the DJs canceled on me in the second room. Would you be down to cover up the spot? Like, I'll work the door tonight. You do this. And I was like, ooh, should I do it? And my other girlfriend was like, just do it. Just do it. And so that's what I ended up doing. I ended up playing the other room practically all night. And it was all vinyl, and it was freaking awesome. And it was nice to be able to play for people.
Yeah.
And, I wasn't anywhere near where I am now. Of course, practice, you got to practice. But it was great. Like just having the experience of like hauling records, like all these other DJs have, hauling the records and going to parties and having to take records up and downstairs and doing all this stuff, like having all of that practice. And then now being in this world where it's like, yo, I got it in a stick,
Yeah.
It's like, it's so much easier. Yes. But I feel like, this journey never ends, and the practice part of it never ends either, right? Because either you're going to go somewhere and you're going to get stuck with a mixer you never played on, or you're going to go somewhere and they're going to ask you to play both vinyl and digital, which is something that's happening a lot. And then the rarity of just having that art form down to a T, like never down to the T, because I don't ever think that anyone is the best. There are amazing people out there that have this, like, the practice down, like, wow, but yeah, I still till this day, like I'm always a student, and I'm super looking forward to seeing what is going to come out of me in the next few years, because that's the one thing I do want to get back to is like my vinyl. Yeah, it's just, I don't know. It's just a beautiful thing, to be able to actually touch the record, It's a different feeling. It is. So
yeah. So that's super cool. I love to hear your story, how you got started. And yeah, I definitely agree. It's different now. There's like that love and hate from people who grew up more on vinyl of like, oh, everything's digital now. but more easy. But it's great, yeah, that like sets you apart to know that you grew up in the actual craft of vinyl. You still can do that and incorporate that, because that's something, yeah, a lot of new DJs, you know, haven't had that experience yet. So that's super dope. And yeah, I'd love to. I hope to see you play vinyl someday. That sounds super cool.
Yeah.
So, and before we move on, where are you originally from? LA and still based in LA, or where were you from originally?
So I was born and raised in LA, in Hollywood.
Mm-hmm.
I'm still here.
Yeah.
My mother is Central American and my biological father is Creole. Okay. And my dad that raised me is Mexican. So I have a little,
nice.
I have a blend of salsa, you know?
Makes sense. Okay. So I want to ask you, who are some of your major DJ influences? Like, who are some of your favorites or people that you really looked up to as you were coming up? Or somebody you just love listening to?
Oh my gosh. So my whole thing that really set me off to do this DJ thing, I went out one night and I went out with some friends and we went to go see DJ Spin. And that night was stupid. Like I don't know what it was. I don't know if it was just one of those nights where you're just like more in tune with yourself and grounded. You know what I mean? Because that's the thing too. Back then, you used to go out to dance, right? Now you have a lot of people that stand around, right? So we'd go back we were out that night and we were there. He played this track with this vocal, but he chopped it up in the middle of the freaking set and threw in this other track. And then he had this other vocal in there. And I was just like, what is going on right now? Yeah. Wait, what? Like, oh my God. And so that, I literally stopped dancing and stood there and was just like, what is going on right now? How is he doing this? Like, I want to know. It just changed the whole game for me. And I've listened to so many DJs play, like mind-blowing craziness throughout these years, like at Deep and different places. And for sure that night changed my life. I waited for him to end his set and for him to go home while he walked out of the club. I walked up to him and I was like, excuse me, I need to let you know that you changed my life. Nice. Right? It was one of those things. And so that was amazing. And then the other person that is a huge influence, has become family to me, I look up to, is a mentor for me, not just with the actual DJing, but with words of wisdom, is Charisma.
Yes, I love Charisma.
He has definitely given me my ultimate goal, which is to really understand the craft on any level, and to show up and to make sure that I give you my full heart and soul. Right? That's one thing. And the second thing is, how am I going to make myself stand out from everybody else doing that? Right. And he's really big on that. Like everything he's done, and he comes from a very creative standpoint. He's been a dancer. He comes from this whole background of stuff. And I'm just like, man, for this person to take their time to give me words of wisdom, it means a lot.
Yeah. Dope.
And that to me, he's like, for me as a dancer, he's like my playground master. That's what I call him, because as a dancer, you want the playground. You want to hear the different things. You want to be able to like elaborate and have this beautiful conversation with the music. And that's that's a big thing that people forget about. Like, a lot of people play music because, oh, this is the new popping thing, or oh, this is like what everybody wants to hear or whatever. And it's like, when you take that and mix it with these left field conversational things, like, you're just like, oh, it's mind blowing, dude. Like, it's a game changer. And so I love the fact that I have such a beautiful person in my life to be able to, give me suggestions or advice and so forth. And then the other person that I also asked when I decided to really take this journey, I remember I wrote this, I ended up writing this email to certain people that I looked up to, and there were certain people that got back to me. And the other person that also has been helping me and mentoring me has been Roy Davis Jr.
Okay, cool.
And so Roy is another big influence in my career. I mean, just between them two, when it comes to the tracks that they've done, the vocals, the whole thing, understanding this heart and soul part of house music has really I feel like it's put me in a different category in a lot of different places. I come from the soulful background. I come from hard house too, like all that Chicago, like Humpty Vision and Bad Boy Bill and all that craziness. Like that's what I grew up to when I was 13 years old. So having that hard and then this soft, like the combination is a beautiful thing, because I just have ears for different types of music. I hear something and I'm like, yes, I want that. Or, oh my God, that vocal, which is something that is not really given in a sense now. I feel like that's something that's lacking, but I mean, some of us still get it, and they're making sure that they throw that in there. And it's like, dude, that's the amazing part about this whole thing, right? Like there is no rules.
Yeah.
So
that's dope. Yeah, I was definitely listening to your mix. I'm excited for people to check it out. Definitely, you can feel through and through just the soulful selection of everything. It was a really nice pocket of stuff, and but underlining very soulful, which I loved. So I also want to ask you, how would you describe West Coast DJ culture, or maybe how it's different comparing to other cities? Like the sound and style, or the the people that come out and want what they want and experience with DJs.
Ooh, that's such a good question. I love it. Yeah. So here's the thing for me. I feel like okay. So everybody knows Chicago, Detroit, and New York for house music. No one really talks about the West Coast as it being like a central point for this music. They really don't talk about it like that. I feel that Los Angeles can have its own thing, right? But just West Coast wise, the one thing that has come out of the West Coast that everybody has been able to experience, I guess would be the best way to say it, is like the tech house movement, right? That's come out of the West Coast. I feel like because we've been in this melting pot of all these different meccas of house, like you have to go and experience it in the East Coast. I don't care what you say. Like it is a must to go and experience it where it comes from, to better understand what people on the West Coast are doing. I wouldn't say it's about mimicking, because we're not trying to mimic anything. I think it's about having the understanding of what this music is, where its origins come from, the whole thing of like implementing the disco and having, the acid bass line and all these different things that come from all over these places. And then you come here to LA and you can get a whole melting pot of stuff, because we're grabbing everything that we learned and then bringing it back home, right? So when you come here, you can get anything. It's not going to be just one thing. And I think that that's now something that is everywhere anyways now. Yeah. But you do go to certain places to hear certain things, right? So I feel like, what does the West Coast have to offer? We're very funky, because we have the funk world came from the West Coast. And so when you look at the music stuff and the music history, you got to remember, like, okay, we had X, Y, and Z here, and there's a lot of rock and roll here, and there's a lot of like the funk era stuff came from here, and there's all these different things. So you can hear it from different people when you go and listen to them play. So I feel like that was always one of my things. Like when I made my first track, I made sure to put that sound, that funk, that LA West Coast sound in my track, because I'm from here. So in order for me to give, whether it's like putting our city on the map for this or whatever it is, to just kind of elevate what I'm doing here, I had to make sure that I gave a piece of myself to the world, right? So I just, I don't know, I feel like everybody, I guess my thing would be like, we are very open-minded, and I think that there is going to be another sound coming out of the West Coast soon, hopefully. Like, I feel like people are really trying to dig and try to make something different, but what will that be? I have no idea yet.
Right.
You know? So there is, I think one thing that I have been hearing, and I'm like, dude, I wonder if you could say that kind of comes from, because we did do like the whole rap and gangster rap and all that stuff does come from the West Coast as well. And so you do hear a lot more of like the rapping in music, like Channel 3, like Canal 3 is definitely a huge influence for a lot of people right now too, I feel. And I think it's amazing to be able to put these, to put all this like beautiful stuff and just make it work. If you can make it work and people like it, why not? So
I definitely noticed that too. There's a lot of crossover of genres now. People that were maybe just a rap artist or just a pop artist, like they're coming into dance and coming into house, because it's just a feel good music, and it works for obviously club environments, which everybody wants a song in those environments. So the intersection of all of it's really cool. And I like the point you made too. It just made me think, as I travel more and DJ more, it's like you do get little bits of influences from everywhere you go. You hear a little style, just subtle things that make you say, oh, that's a little New York, or that's a little Miami, like stuff that just sticks out more from those influences. So it's cool to take a little bit of everything everywhere. And but definitely important to know, I guess, knowing some of the real history of where it was founded is really important too, to run with those things. So before we get into our last question, I wanted to see if you had any projects or events that you're excited about that you wanted to share with Wonderful. Anything coming up that you're looking forward to?
Ooh, well, definitely Detroit. And being able to be out there with you. Like, I think that's, I'm super stoked. I've never been to Detroit, so it's going to be my first time in Detroit.
Good.
So I'm looking forward to that. And everybody tells me that the festival is wonderful and that I'm going to have a great time, and that it's like definitely going to fill my heart with a lot of joy. And I'm like, oh my God, I get to recharge. That's going to be amazing. And just to know that I'm going to be around a lot of amazing people and family and mentors and, so forth. There'll be a lot of people there. So I'm looking forward to that. I am playing my first day trip festival party at the end of June. That's going to be really cool as well. Like, just to be able to play and rep, on a bigger stage here in my city. And then we're actually doing the West Coast Weekender in June as well. So that's going to be a lot of fun too. I'm looking forward to that. And just, the only other thing that is, that I'm working towards right now too is just the whole thing that happened with Defected, and kind of seeing where that's going to go, and just brand new to the Defected family. And I'm looking forward to that. And then I do have some, music projects that'll be coming out either by the end of this year or beginning of the new year coming, that I'm looking really forward to. And not everything is going to be house, which is the other thing that I'm like super excited about. Because it's just, I'm a lover of music. Like, I don't hate on anything.
Right. Yeah, and it's fun as creatives. It's like, we don't want to be in one box. We want to, some days, like, I want to make a country song. I want to make a tech house. You never know. Something might inspire you. So, well, that sounds super exciting. Yes, I look forward to connecting with you on the West Coast and in Detroit. I'm looking forward to it. And we look forward to hearing more of your music. So a last little fun question I like to do, we're going to do like a quick little question of like personal preference. I'll ask you this or that, and you tell me which one you prefer. Okay, cool. So here we go. So Snickers or M&Ms?
Depends on the M&Ms.
Yeah, well, what's your favorite M&M? Yeah, peanut, plain, what do we got?
So so the peanut butter M&Ms
right.
are my favorite. Those are like, they're hit or miss, like you can't. So it's either peanut butter M&Ms or peanut M&Ms.
All right, there we go. Nickelodeon or Cartoon Network?
Nickelodeon.
All right. Tequila or vodka?
When I was drinking, tequila.
Okay. And the last one, a giraffe or a zebra?
Giraffe.
Awesome. Well, thank you for playing that fun little game. Well, thank you so much for coming on here today. I look forward to sharing your episode and seeing what you continue to do as a DJ and with your platforms. So thank you so much. I appreciate you.
You're very welcome. I can't wait to meet you.
Yes.